Please welcome to the show certified nutritionist and the host of a podcast. It's called Color Code Your Dog Food, the remarkable Gail Pruitt. Welcome to the show, Gail.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Arden.
We got to dive in because, our dogs, what you put in your belly does make a difference, right?
Certainly does. And, you would not feed your child, out of a can or a bag for the rest of their life, ever. And so why would you do that to your best bud, So when I first got Mimi, she had been a little street dog. Actually, she lived in an abandoned building and they tried to catch her. It took them about 2 months. She's really streetwise, but she was very malnutrition. She was just in a terrible shape at the time when I just bought a little condo in Fort North Dallas in 2008. And I wanted to have a dog. I've always had animals, all kinds of animals. And I wanted to have a dog. So I went to this shelter and I said, I want a cute little fluffy dog. And the volunteer said, really snarky, she said, we don't have any cute little funny dogs. We have regular dogs. And I said, okay. She threw this dog, the strangest looking little animal you've ever seen in your life, into my arms. And it was about 15 pounds. And she put her little paws around my neck. And I thought, anyway, this volunteer came back. She said, we don't have any fluffy dogs. To anything that you would have. And she tried to pull this little dog away from me. And the dog
had already started.
Just the dog held on for dear life. So I knew I was going to go home with this little animal. But she was in bad shape. And that's really when I started really doing nutritional research for canines, and I fell in love with it. And little Mimi, that was in 2008. They said she was about 4 years old at the time. She's now 20, we think, because I got her in 2008, and she's been sick for 1 hour since I've had her in 16 years.
Because of good food choices, right? What kind of mix, if you had to say, what is Mimi? What would you guess?
Well, what the vets tell me is they think that she's a Dachshund Chihuahua pit mix. So you can kind of imagine, her. And she's very strong-willed and a lovely dog.
The
Chihuahua and Dachshund. And then the pit is she's very strong, very, very she's powerful, But the only reason she got sick that time is she swallowed a yellow jacket. And I had to take her to emergency. And they said, she's fine. She's fine. They got the, yellow jacket. It was right there. And I thought, no more, I'm not going to go to dog parks anymore because she goes after bees and wasps. And
we want you to celebrate your next few birthdays coming up. Come on. Hey, just to give people a little background about yourself, you've been a chef and a nutritionist, I believe, since 1996.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little background about yourself? Because you're helping the two-leggers and now you're helping the dogs.
Yes, I was actually raised in restaurants. My family always had restaurants, and my mom, she knew most of the chefs in Dallas. So we always had people coming in and cooking, and I fell in love with food.
That's cool.
Yeah, that wasn't necessarily healthy food, but it was really good food. And chefs are wonderful at entertaining while they're cooking. They're great at that. So I did learn a little bit from them about that. And I found that I did love food. Then I was in a little health food store and they asked me if I would put in a restaurant there, which I did.
Oh,
and it was in Fort Worth. And it turned out really well. I left there and I was still in love with food. And I started writing books after I got Mimi. And then Casper came right in. Mimi was so bad, I did not know what to do with her. And so I just adopted another dog. I thought that would be helpful. And it was. But one day I came home and she was on the counter. I had just gone out for an hour. She was on the counter and she had opened up every single cabinet I had and pulled out all the food.
This was Casper?
No, that was Mimi.
Oh,
she
Mimi.
jumped up. Yeah, Mimi. So I got Casper at that time. I thought I need to have another dog. Anyway, it worked. She never did another thing like that ever. But she never liked Casper, and Casper never liked her. So they have disliked each other for 16 years. But they're real healthy.
Well, there you go. Well, we want to give a little shout out because a couple of the books that you did publish, St. Martin's Press, that's no slouch of a publishing company. The Doggone Good Cookbook and the Doggone Good Cuisine. There's a theme here, Gail.
Right. Well, the thing is, PBS bought the options to make a little cooking show, the Doggone Good Cooking Show. They didn't do it. They didn't do it because of the sponsor situation. But Casper fell in love with performing, and he decided he wanted to be an actor.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. But anyway, he will hold a pose. If you're in front of a camera, he will hold a pose until you tell him. He's great at it. And he likes to do his cha-cha-cha, and he dances for people. And so finally we would go up to Whole Foods, and he wanted to be the greeter, and he would greet people as they come in and go out. So that's him. And then we have Mimi. Now I have Rambo.
And Rambo, what kind of dog is Rambo?
He's a Yorkie. He's 9 pounds, and he is disabled, but he doesn't know it. And he's really tough. I didn't get him until last October, and he's 12 years old.
We've got about a minute left before the break, and then we're going to dive in deeper. But just to tease our listeners, what the heck is a color code for your dog food?
Well, it's not just for dog food; it's for people food too. Everybody needs to eat. There's everybody knows about beta carotene,
right?
Okay,
carrots,
but actually, it's carotenoids. There's over 700 of them, and you just don't want to have the one thing. So yellow is usually covered up with chlorophyll. And if you take like a piece of parsley and you just put it out, it's going to turn yellow. So that is really the main pigment.
Oh, interesting. Well, I want to get an overview because I want to dive in deeper, but the main point is we do need to have color on our plate to help us have a better balance and better nutrients, right?
Oh, absolutely, because they all have different nutrients in them.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content. Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.